Ooh, what's good, family? Shout out to Corey Trevor for boosting up your man the YB coin. So, Billy Joe Sausages has lashed out at Chris Eubank Jr. Yeah? Now, for you who don't know, how this all came about was essentially, we all know now Amir Queen Khan and Kell Brook have retired. Chris Eubank Jr., as he has done for his whole career, love to fight old, random, nobody know having ass dudes. So, knowing that Kell Brook has more or less finished his career, and most importantly is pretty much half of Chris Eubank's size, Chris Eubank thinks, wow, Kell Brook's old. Kell Brook's old and small. My favourite. 100%. Don't get me wrong. Chris Eubank, he loves to fight people who've got names, but he loves to fight people who are old, who have got names, and who are small. His favourite. The best thing to do. Wait a minute, how tall are you? Are you 5'5"? I want you bad. Yeah, wait there. Are you 5'5" and 70-year-old? I definitely want you. That's your man Chris Eubank Jr. 100%. Yeah, goofy ass. Today he posted on Instagram. Oh, my Ferrari. You big goofy. Daddy's boy won't have an ass. Anyway, listen, like I said, just explain to you. Chris Eubank, if you're old, if you got a name, and if you're small, Chris Eubank all over you. And you best believe that's all over. Because he don't want nothing to do with anyone in his own weight. Yeah, that's the worst thing is, Golovkin's also got a name, and is old, but guess what? You don't see Eubank making no moves, do you? Let's be real now, Eubank, yeah, has been in 160 his whole career, and guess what? He's never, ever tried to structure himself into a mandatory position. He never wanted that. All this talking about, oh, I'm ducked and Triple G won't fight me and this guy won't fight me and that guy won't fight me. Chris, you've been at 160 your whole career. Why haven't you done what everyone else does? People can't duck you when you're mandatory. Oops. Instead, Chris Eubank hangs around having random ass fights against Liam Chiniums and other bums. Yeah? Crying he can't get no big fight. Listen, like I said, if you want a big fight, get into mandatory. And the worst thing is, it's 2022. There's 4 damn belts. How can you be at 160 for 10 years and not have had one mandatory world title shot? What is going on here? Someone explain. And on that note, it's all linked, because it makes sense why Chris Eubank is out here trying to beg friend his way into Kell Brook's knickers. And to be honest with you, I think Kell Brook really fill him in, truth be known. I really do. For Eubank's useless. Yeah? Chiniums was begging to be KO'd, and Eubank just started dancing around at the end. Weird. Proper goofy 2022 boxer is Chris Eubank. Yeah, anyway, listen. There's the background. Kell Brook's retiring. Chris Eubank says, oh, Kell, don't retire. Yeah, you've beat Amir Khan, but imagine if you could beat me instead, and my name's much bigger. Yeah, Kell Brook. Beating Amir Khan's one thing. Going out with Amir Khan on your resume's one thing, but imagine beating the great Chris Eubank Jr., the man who's never fought for a world title. Yeah, that's how Chris Eubank was carrying on. Completely gassed out of his bonds. Yeah, simply the most gassed out of his bonds. How about that? Never mind simply the best. Yeah? Simply the most gassed off your bonds. Anyway, listen. So obviously, Billy Joe Sausages, he saw, Billy Ho Santa, saw that post from Chris Eubank, and he decided to clap out, and he basically got his wick out and gave Chris Eubank Jr. a good wicking, and said, listen, Chris Eubank, imagine thinking you're a name. Yeah, like as if you're a name. Obviously, because the way Chris Eubank carrying on, Kell Brook, you could beat me, don't go anywhere. As if his name's Chris Pacquiao or Chris Mayweather. Yeah? Now, to be fair, and that's the thing, the worst thing is, yeah, the only reason Chris Eubank's known is because of his dad. That's just God's honest truth. You ain't never fought for a world title. And that shows you the value of the dad's name. That's it. Because anyone else who doesn't have a daddy, anyone else who isn't a daddy's boy, guess what? Name me someone in history of the sport, yeah, who hasn't even fought for a world title, hasn't even had a mandatory, but has a big name. Oops, no one. Because that's the bare bones minimum, isn't it? The bare bones minimum is fighting for a world title via a mandatory. If you haven't been mandatory, if all you've been your whole career is voluntary, then you're a sideman, and that's your man Chris Eubank, big sideman, have an ass, yeah, big daddy's boy wannabe. Anyway, listen. So Billy Joe Sausages punked Chris Eubank, and I like it, but this must go somewhere, in my opinion. No good punking him. I can't lie to you. I think Eubank would beat Billy Ho, truthfully. But that said, it doesn't mean I don't want to see it. Yeah? And to be honest, I don't like either fighter, so I'm happy for them to go in there and get stuck in. That's all I do want. Yeah? And given the state of boxing, this is the kind of fight we need. We need to see two men in the ring who really can't afford to lose. And that fight would be exactly that. Billy Joe would be coming off a big loss, where he's been massively embarrassed. His whole shtick has been exposed. Yeah, the whole bare knuckle shtick that Billy Joe Sausages was pushing for years is completely done. And the only way to revive that would be if Billy Joe Sausages comes out and sticks it all over Chris Eubank. Imagine if we saw Billy just walking forward and trying to moshy bash Chris Eubank like the bouncers did with his dad. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing now Billy Joe Sausages is planning to go in there and try and moshy bash Chris Eubank Jr. just like his dad got done. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, one of them ones. Yeah, Billy Joe Santa is fixing to proper mosh Chris Eubank to get his, to get his pride back. He wants to prove that he can get stuck in. That's what I'm hearing. That said, I think Eddie Hearn mentioned a few days ago, oh, yeah, me and Mr. Sausages are going to meet and we're meant to be having some sort of discussion. So let's see what happens with that. And I think it would be a shame. And just the problem today is, yeah, there's too much coin in boxing. These guys are way overpaid. Yeah, it's a fact. Because, has Billy Joe done more than Chris Eubank? Yes, he has. In as much as he's actually, I tell a lie. I'd give Billy Joe has done one thing. He fought in a unification against Canelo. That's it. I'm not going to count all the other bum fights he had. Because, in my opinion, there's too many world titles. And if there wasn't so many fake world titles, I'm not sure Billy Joe would be world champion, if you get what I'm saying. For Billy Joe to be a real world champion, he would have had to have beat Callum Smith, in my opinion. That would have been a real world title fight. And that's why, really, at 168, I only considered Callum Smith to be a true 168 champion. Why? He beat George Groves. Billy Joe doesn't have a George Groves on his resume. Andy Lee is not a George Groves. Same as Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is not a real world champion. He didn't beat no one. Oops, yeah? That's how from now on, don't tell me about who world champion. Tell me who they beat, and I'll tell you if they got a world title belt or not. So Billy Joe has never been world champion. Yeah, he had one good fight against Alvarez, against Bumelo, and got his pack smoked. So to be fair, he criticises Eubank about, oh, you've never been world champion, and neither have you, Billy, truth be known. In any other era, you would never have been world champion, because you didn't fight no one who's relevant. That said, you two, there's no reason you two can't get it on now. Yeah, and and I think Chris Eubank would actually accept the fight now, because he's got nothing to lose, and he loves fighting people with a name. You know what I'm saying? Chris Eubank, if you're a name and you're kind of half finished, Chris Eubank all over you. Yeah, that's what he is all over. Same as, let's not forget people. For years, Chris Eubank said he wanted Golovkin. Guess what? Golovkin has been a world champion holder at 160 for years, donkey's years. And all of the Chris Eubank man fans, oh, YB, Chris Eubank would mosh Triple G spot. Listen, if that was the case, why has Triple G been 160 champion for 10 years? And Chris Eubank, and by the way, Triple G's not just been around and belt. Triple G's been damn near undisputed, or 2, 3, 4 world titles at 160, and somehow your man Chris Eubank in the last 10 years hasn't ever once decided to go get himself mandatory. Oops, that's how much he wanted that, isn't it? Yeah? He don't want it. He like to fight these weird dudes like Liam Chiniums. Yeah? That's what he like to do. Take the piss out of... Chris Eubank takes the piss out of the sport. Don't take it seriously. Just milks coin. And it's an embarrassment, yeah, that someone like Chris Eubank has been able to extract 10 million bucks from the sport. For what? He ain't even fought for it. Well, yeah, if he has, he's not lost it anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? It should be illegal for a man who's never beat anyone legitimate to be worth 10 mil. He got schooled by Groves, who was shot to bits. Yeah? He went life and death with James do you know what I mean? James DeHorse. Yeah? James DeHorsey. Shot to bits he was. James DeGale was shot to bits. Yeah? James DeShot was completely finished in the game. And that's the thing I was telling you a second ago. It's no surprise that Chris Eubank wants a piece of Billy, because guess what? He shot to bits. I told you before, Chris Eubank, he likes you if you're small, if you're old, and if you're finished. He all over it. And the worst thing is, he actually selected George Groves on that basis and still got his ass whooped. Imagine that. Chris Eubank thought, wow, Groves. And in fact, I remember the build-up for that fight. Chris Eubank was saying it. He was saying, yeah, you're finished. Yeah, Groves, you're finished. Got no legs. And this, that, the other. Next thing we know, Groves in there. And Groves had one arm and still mosh a bash to Eubank. Yeah? But anyway, as far as the sport goes, we need this fight. And this fight will be called the Battle of the Bums. That's what it will be called. Yeah. Eubank a bum. And Billy is a bum. But to be fair to Billy, at least he got his wig pushed back by Bomelo. Yeah, at least he half tested himself. Chris, ever since losing to Billy, which really was a 50-50 draw fight in my opinion, but ever since it happened, Chris has never wanted to really test himself. The George Groves fight, he got schooled, but you know what I mean? He didn't really test himself, in my opinion. And even if you give it that one, okay, he won it. He tried it. Groves ain't that top level, is he? Groves isn't that Triple G, Bomelo, all them ones. He's not them ones. Callum Smith would have been one of them ones. Where Chris at? Oops, nowhere to be found. That's where he at. Anyway, this fight should happen. Will it happen? Listen, it's 2022 and it's boxing, so probably not. We'll probably get some Chris Eubank versus some random bum I never heard of. Oh, Chris Eubank versus Eurobum. Wow, that's what we'll hear. Yeah, Chris Eubank versus Eurobum in Dubai for $5 million. That's what we'll hear. 100%. You best believe it as well. The British fans want this fight. We want Billy to go in there and try and get his pride back, try and find his balls. And we want Eubank to go in there and do some more dancing around the place, trying to be a knockoff Roy Jones Jr. No doubt about it, 1,000,000%.